Good afternoon, America, and welcome to Hope Springs Eternal. And today we have a special open forum where we're going to talk about integrated holistic health and well-being, specifically some of the modalities that are out there like hyperbarics. We have a special guest, but first I want to introduce my regular co-host. Give them a shout out, Juan.
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Juan Alcivar, and I am here as one of John Warden's cases. That I was 350 pounds, and now I'm living my life, moving forward with a lot of the holistic and training that we learned, and we want to push forward and keep advising you and giving you guys this information. So thank you so much for being here.
And without further ado, I want to introduce one of our military veterans from the United States Marine Corps, Antonio Maldonado. Give him a shout out, Antonio.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Antonio Maldonado. I did 12 years in the Marine Corps, left the military as a gunnery sergeant. Now I transitioned out of the military into a corporate office. So I currently work for the BMW corporate office as a technician recruiter. And I'll come on here and talk about the opportunities that we have within BMW that provides service members active duty to transition out of the military. We provide them training for 4 months and then help them get into a dealership upon leaving the military, whether you're EAS or ETS. We have locations in Camp Pendleton and in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So it's awesome to be here. I believe that continuing my service outside of the military and still supporting veterans and active duty members is a great thing. That's something that I needed when I was in active duty. So glad to be here. And thank you, JW, for having me on the call.
No, workforce development is a big issue for military veterans, and it's all about hope, purpose, and community. And speaking of hope and purpose, we have a special guest today. I'd like to welcome the president of the National Hyperbarics Association, Paul Hoffaker. He's going to join us, and we're going to discuss hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Welcome, Paul.
Glad to be here, John. Thank you much. And I'll do a quick bio. This goes the involvement with the military and those that are struggling. And I'll go as far as with the suicide piece. There's statistics out there that everybody knows. You know, they're typically stating about 20 a day is what government responds. But we've seen times that's been close to 40 a day, and it's supported with who we know and what we know. But I want to stress two things. On the hyperbaric side, the inroads have been great. We've been doing this, I started this around 2008, 2010, started two nonprofits, national nonprofits. And in that interim, I got very close with not only the military veterans, but and that includes active duty and the soft guys, surprisingly enough. And I bring all that up is because those who have served, those who have been in battle, those who are struggling with PTS, those who are involved with TBI, the combatants, the big war guys that have been shooting for a good part of their life, breaching both in training and as in active duty. All of those have been intertwined, and a lot of it, the TBI piece of it, can be treated with hyperbarics. I'll stay winded for just a minute longer. The VA, we've worked with them over time. They're not a big fan of hyperbarics, but our inroads with them as administrations have changed. We've gained a lot of credibility. There's now studies being done, which is good. Private studies are being done to bring the science in. And we're here to tell you, as of this moment, we now have 13, almost 14 states that are recognizing hyperbarics on the veteran side and are being paid for it. And on the other is we've now have a bunch of sports teams, including baseball and hockey. Both are national teams. So we're honored that they're using hyperbarics for their concussed patients. And I was staying down.
So let's get into it because there's a lot to unpack from what you talked about. The VA has always done their own internal studies, which I always say, you got to, whenever you see a study, you always got to be skeptical who's paying for it and then what the results actually say, because it might be somehow thumb on the scale kind of thing. The Israeli IDF is by far the world's leader in hyperbaric therapy. They've been doing it for a long time. They've really seemed to have perfected it, and they have some of the best research on the subject. So talk to us a little bit about what you know about the efforts in the IDF. There's tons of research that people can find online, but let's talk about it because they have these massive hyperbaric clinics in Israel for IDF soldiers.
And who knows better than the Israelis, but all their combatants, how long have they been in war, and all their 18-year-olds, male and female, have to join, have to be part of the military. So they're exposed to a lot. They've put in what we know as $3 billion over time, trying to look at hyperbarics as a cure, something that could, if not cure, can benefit those who have been traumatized in battle and just the wounds of war, the silent wounds of war. But they now put another big satellite, massive, it's called Aviv. It's in near Orlando, Florida. It's in there where they call the villages. Their scanning, brain mapping is none better in the world. You're able to look at the brain now more efficiently and with more expertise than ever before. And with AI coming on, it's even going to be greater. But they've been able to, what I've been doing, we're able to film the brain now before, during, and after hyperbaric treatments. And when you see the scans, everybody at one point thought, let's use the blast injury. Everybody thought at one point when they filmed the brain, you would almost be able to see the dark spot. That's layman's terms. It would be just look like dead space. Everybody thought that those brain cells at that moment were gone. They were not going to be recovered. All of a sudden, with hyperbarics, putting them in hyperbaric chambers and oxygenating the brain, we started seeing the brain light up. It was dormant, not dead. And when you see those kind of things as vivid and as documented, both in MRI, CAT scan, in many cases, other techniques, but when you see that, and then you see the brain light up, and then you talk to the military, the patient himself and the family, we've gotten so many off meds, drugs. We've gotten so many, and they describe it as happy. They've improved their apnea and their sleep disorder, and their quality of life has improved. They are not angry like they were, not by design, but they just were angry. And many of them felt useless and helpless, so be the high rate of suicide. But my hat goes off. You know, obviously the United States and medical teams have been looking into this for a while, but none better. And we thank God that the Israelis are sharing this globally, what they've been able to find.
So what do you think so what is it that happens in there? Because I'm very interested in, are we in there like working out? Because I'm hearing this and it just reminds me of like Dragon Ball Z. Like they go in and they train and you get better. Are you resting in there, and then is the brain just change in the sense like there's growth in those dead spots?
What it does, it lights them up. But again, I'm using layman terms here. When you use oxygen, well, a lot of times in hyperbarics, there's about 14 diagnostic approved medical treatments to treat with hyperbarics. One of them being the Marine Corps. You guys would know there's guys that go down deep and come up with the bends. They're put in hyperbaric chambers. and the results are what they are. Picture the same thing with people with, I'm not going to name all 14, but people that were involved in CO2 or, from inside a house, the next thing you know, you're overwhelmed. People that have grafting of new skin on different parts of the body, we put them in hyperbaric chambers. The beauty of the mind and the brain is we're able to now see, and it's called collateral circulation form. Collateral circulation is, and it happens throughout your body when there's injuries. The body reacts by finding a way around the injured space. And with that, those small vessels now migrate to the other side so oxygen can continue to flow at and then around the damaged piece of whether it's brain or it's what I described as the horrific things of medical that needs hyperbaric management. All we're doing, everyone, is we're just forcing high pressure oxygen into the plasma of the blood. And I know that's very simplistic, but that's the bottom line. That's what we're doing. And by having more oxygen in the brain and oxygen in the body, it goes into the red blood cells. And now the red blood cells are highly oxygenated, and they're traveling not only through the heart, but through the rest of the body, which encourages the things I talked about, whether collateral circulation, and also it just feeds the mind. You get a better sense of being, of both in dynamic of from walking to the other side of trying to stay cognizant of your own well-being. And I'll look to you, Antonio. You trained all those years in training and then out in the field. We're finding out
Yes,
that
sir.
all that time that you trained shooting those weapons, didn't matter when,
Yes, sir.
we're able to see these are wave files. Every time you pull that trigger, a wave of comes back at you. You don't feel
sir.
it, you don't know it. Obviously, the sound affects you, but over time, and then the breaching, you train the breach to go in and blow a door and enter and all that. All that concussive things was coming your way. Some of our guys dealt with it a lot better. A whole bunch didn't. That's why they call it the silent killer, because it is. And
Well,
you
I
don't
can
even
say-
know you're suffering from it.
Well, I can say a couple things. First, Life Aid did a brain health study, and we started it at the end of 2019. And unfortunately, COVID hit in March of 2020, so it did impact some of our results. But we did brain mapping using SPECT scan imaging and QEEG brain mapping. And we worked with Wake Forest University and their brain imaging department. So we did all the baseline scans, and then we put people through different therapy options based on what the neurologist gained from the brain scans. All of the patients that participated in the program were 100% disability rating for PTSD. So almost all of them did hyperbaric therapy. At the end, we did a post brain scan, just like what Paul was talking about. And in 100% of the cases, they improved. And it's a Discovery Channel documentary. You can find it on our YouTube page. It's called A Story of Hope. You can watch it. And you can see all the different veterans and their journeys. Some of them did some different therapies with obviously the Life Aid diet, nutrition, exercise program. And then we had some different things with immersion therapy and yoga. But the integrated holistic therapy and well-being plan, 100% of the veterans improved. So I can say that. And then secondly, I wanted to ask you, Paul, are you familiar with the treatnow.org organization? I know that that's an hyperbaric advocacy program. You mentioned the different states. I know that they've been instrumental in reaching out to different states regarding getting states to adopt hyperbaric therapy for veterans. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, I know the president very well, Rob Beckman. He's been, there's another guy, been doing it for what I know of, at least over 20 years. A tremendous advocate, puts out stuff that has science base to it, keeps the momentum alive. I had him at a big conference back in 2019. He's well respected in the field. And you know how this works, everyone. If you don't keep this out there, it will go away. And many, pharma included, psychiatric entities, they don't want to see success in this. Pharma in particular, they've been fighting us tooth and nail for next to ever. Because you can imagine, Antonio, I'll go back to you, Juan.
Yes, sir.
If you were getting services at the VA, you come in,
Mhm.
a lot of your situation is med driven.
Yes.
Once they
absolutely.
do that,
Yes.
try this. How many times did they try this and it didn't work? Okay, try this. And unfortunately, we're coming to find out, even though you're supposed to be taking that medicine there or them while in their presence, but you do able to take it home, obviously. So
Right.
many of our guys over the years would stack their meds, throw down a bottle, half bottle of vodka, and not wake up.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we know that that was a suicide, but the statistics say that it was an accidental overdose. And I can see why militarily, why they would want that, to keep those numbers down. I do, I respect that. Because how many people on the recruiting side would come in thinking that, wow, I can be suicidal in so many years? That's not the intent. Our intent
Right.
is to treat the guys that are struggling now.
But and one thing I also want to bring up is it's not just veterans that, so obviously you mentioned, I think, baseball and hockey, but there's a number of sports where brain injury, concussion, TBI, PTSD, whatever the brain injury is, are affected. And just look at how many suicides have been in young NFL players due to CTE. Those are a lot of those are avoidable. And like I just spoke with a Olympic bobsledder yesterday on this topic, and we were talking about it, and he was talking to me about all the brain injuries that he had just from the G forces of bobsled, which
Wow.
when you think about it, you don't really think of bobsled as a head injury type of thing. But then when he was explaining the G forces and how your brain is basically smacked up against your skull as you're going down the hill, it kind of made sense to me. So
Let's not forget all the special first responders, firemen,
Yeah.
all that space. You're right, sports at many levels, from soccer on up, are traumatized.
and right now, you brought it up earlier, Paul. There are several states that have passed legislation to authorize hyperbaric therapy treatments for veterans, and those are Arizona, Florida, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Missouri, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and Wyoming. And noticeably absent from that is California, our home state, Antonio.
Right.
And then a lot of the states in the South, like Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana. Can you talk about that effort, Paul? Because I mean, those are all huge veteran communities in those southern states.
No question. And they have very willing and able governors willing to support this. But there's a little caveat to that. If you look at the individual budgets from the different states, they vary dramatically. Some of them aren't guaranteed. They'll do it for 2 years, and I'm sure they're waiting for results. But the numbers, the actual financial numbers, should be so much better. But remember, it's a carve out. And if the carve out is coming at the state level, not the federal side on the VA, they're doing what they can with what they have. I don't point fingers. I just appreciate they're actually doing it.
Well, I mean, our organization has been definitely on the tip of the spear, if you will, when it comes to innovative therapy treatments for veterans. I mean, there's not very many organizations that I'm aware of that have actually gone out and done their own brain mapping study and used hyperbarics. I mean, I've done it personally. I played college football, and as a professional cyclist, I've had at least 9 concussions. And so I was very interested in the therapy firsthand. So I went to the Amen clinics and got a brain scan, and Dr. Amen was there, and he took my brain scan. He started circling, and he goes, "These are all the places you've had concussions." And I'm like, "Oh, I remember that one. I remember that one." And then I did the hyperbarics, and then my brain definitely, there's a significant difference that I saw in the brain scans in the before and after from doing the hyperbarics.
Yeah, let me share a little bit about on the hyperbaric side. When you say, they had treatments, the treatments are typically rounding numbers about 40, one a day for 40 days. There is entities because of the scheduling of the veteran. If we're using veterans in this case, it's a big ask for them to come and dedicate 40 days. So there is at times that they do 2-a-days. I'm not a big fan of that, but so far it didn't show any real damage by doing that by any means. But when you see at the start, mid, and then at the end, you definitely see brain change. But remember, some of these clinics and so forth don't have the ability to film. So they're just bringing the veteran in and doing these dives, that we call them. They're dives because you're actually in a hyperbaric chamber, which is non-threatening by any means. It's open, it's glass. You can read, watch TV, and no, you can't smoke. But at the same time, you have this oxygen flow coming in, and the diagnostic piece of it is, are you diving at 1.3 atmospheres, it's called? Just picture yourself being pushed down underwater, and the pressure by the atmosphere inside the hyperbaric chamber is forcing oxygen into your blood plasma. And the extent of the injuries, some of the dives that go even deeper, you hear the words 2.0, 2.4. That's related how far down you're being pushed. And the pressure increases, more oxygen is being forced in, and it's being related to the different parts of the body. And that's used pretty frequently. But the results are, does everybody walk away with a clean slate? No. Remember, I said it's not a cure. It helps to fix. Just picture, if your mind is able to focus just a little bit more than before you went in, you're willing to accept that maybe you're ill. You're willing to accept other modalities that could help you and not be so restrictive, like F this isn't going to work. It clears your mind to a point of willingness to be well. And the idea is you have to want to get well. That's a big that's a big part of this. You guys
Motivation
probably
or
heard that
drive.
before.
Yeah, motivation or drive is something that we talk a lot about in our program. We have this this saying, it's all about the mind. And M is for mindset, I is for integration, N is for networking, and D is for drive. And you need all those things to get yourself better. And if you have the proper mindset and you use an integrated approach, and then you create your community of support and your network, and then that helps motivate you and that keeps you accountable, and good results happen. And,
ter-
you know, we've
And I
definitely
believe
seen,
and I
go ahead, Juan.
go ahead. No, I just wanted to say on that same part, piggybacking with you, John, is that on the veteran side, we need to have more stuff like this for veterans that get to do this stuff, so we can then be able to say, hey, this works, because it always been with the veterans, it's always been us helping each other. So if more of us go through this and actually see the results, can then keep fighting. We have to be able to throw our voices around. As you saw this past week when they were trying to do the thing downtown with the veterans, we quickly were rise up to say, hey, this isn't right, and they returned it. So with having more people like you, Paul, and more people like John that promote these things that help us, and then having us go through it, we need to be able to get them that information. Hey, this works for us. And yeah, the VA might not be happy about that, but that's the way we've done it. And thank you for your work. That's it.
Juan, nobody can speak more than the military guys, the veterans themselves. Once you lose mission, you also are losing brotherhood. And a lot of these guys are out there on their own. They don't have that response backwards. Or sadly, that's getting better. I don't need anybody's help. And there's sometimes that's no further from the truth. And as we're gathering, and John's looking at a sizable project here. The idea of a campus atmosphere that you can not only come for treatment, but bring your family so you're not alone. And then at the same time, be on the same place where there's other veterans with similar situations. It just brings you that you're not out there dangling on your own. It brings your whole mind and sometimes that depressive feelings you're feeling because of each other. And my God, we're doing everything we can to make that happen right now.
Oh,
Well,
how does
I
somebody
think
like
that's
myself or Juan do something like this? Like how do we qualify, or how is it that we can go about doing something like this?
well, it's easy. You know, you have a direct pipeline to some guy named JW that can really help
Oh,
you
there we
out.
go.
So
There you go, JW.
it's you guys all, anybody that's associated with any of the groups or programs that I run. I mean, I have a pretty simple system for people to get in touch with me, and
Yeah, that's awesome.
post whatever they want, post questions, post information, you know, ask for help, whatever they need. As Paul mentioned, you know, we have a big initiative that we're working on right now that is going to be a game changer if it can come to fruition. And the idea is that, you know, we need a place where you can have all these different integrated holistic therapies, not just hyperbarics, but infrared sauna, red light, immersion, cold plunge, cryogenics, diet, nutrition, exercise, and really look at all the different, you know, things from chronic illness and obesity to chronic pain and mobility to toxic exposure to brain health to addiction to behavioral health
Awesome.
risk. You know, we need something that can, anyone, come one, come all, everyone's welcome, and you can get the help you need and do it in an environment that is conducive, that the veterans will like, which I'm definitely famous for that.
Hey, Juan,
That's awesome.
Ontario, are you being treated, either one of you, by any doctors?
No, not at the
Yeah, I'm
moment.
going
The
through the VA. Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
going through the VA, and I do get my stuff done. Like I do have a chiropractor I have to go to. I go to two different chiropractors. A VA provides you for one. I do one on my own, and then I've been doing a lot of different workouts and PT. So PT, the VA provides you a PT, but then if you want to get good PT, you have to go out of system per se to
Mhm.
get the PT you need. And something like this would be great, you know, what you guys are talking about, because if you can get a veteran with other veterans that are taking care of each other, and then once they're good, you can send them to Antonio and be like, Antonio, hey, we can get you in this program with BMW, got you ready. Mindset is good. Because when you get a veteran that's motivated, has a great mindset, they can do anything. but they just
Well,
need
no,
to get
and
in that
sometimes they
great
don't have a
headspace.
good mindset. Sometimes they don't have a good mindset at the beginning. I remember walking the halls of Walter
Yes.
Reed in like 2008 time frame, and I met this guy, and he got shot in the leg, and his leg was all tore up. And I said, "Hey, I run this program, and we do these cross multi-day bike rides, and you should come out and join it." And he said, "Well, I can't ride a bike." And I said, "Of course you can." And then I told him about this guy, Delvin, who was a quad amputee, missing all his arms and legs. And I said,
Quad.
you know, Delvin can do it. And if Delvin can do it, you can do it. And then at 350 plus pounds, he comes out and starts riding a bike. And before you know it, now, what do you weigh, Juan? 204?
202.
Nice.
Oh, down to 202.
I'm trying to get
Man.
to 200.
You can get
Hey,
there.
No,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
no,
story.
no. Well, I hope after that bike ride we do. Prepare for that bike run.
Yeah,
Juan, are you
well,
coming out here? Is Juan coming out here for the 21st?
I hope so.
Hopefully.
We can get him a flight if he wants to come ride with us on the 21st.
I got my
guys.
bike.
I know how to make that happen.
Just picture this, because a lot of times the guys do not want to see a suit, or because the lack of trust and all that. But I don't dress like this on meetings, but maybe you guys would appreciate this. You can kind of tell how old I am. And I'll walk up to you like Antonio or Juan, and I'll come up
Mm-hmm.
and I'll look you up and down and go, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can take you. And and they do exactly what you just did. They laugh. It lowers the bar, and it's a sense of, hey, this guy's not here to look at me. I'm looking at you.
Absolutely.
And it just helps. And I learned from that the camaraderie of the brotherhood is so dear. It's so dear. And we're doing everything possible. We're gonna make this
awesome.
happen.
It's awesome,
So we
Paul.
are.
Thank you for everything you do. It sounds amazing. I've never heard something like this, and to go back and reflect. I mean, we had this conversation in the last podcast, Juan, right, about the whole VA prescription with the pills, and me and Juan were big on that. I went in for a lot of PTSD, and had a lot of problems mentally going into the VA, and all I was being prescribed was medication. Try this, your exact words, Paul. Over and over and over, to the point that it made me go downhill instead of uphill. So it took some courage to kind of wing off of those prescription pills and do other things outside of pills, because it was leading me in a complete wrong direction that I probably wouldn't be on this call if I would have continued that medication.
I gotta admit, sir, this administration right now is more in tune than the past four. They have even the head of the VA is not demonizing it and said, wait, we did studies and they're all, well, we challenged every one of their studies and how they did the sham part of the study and all that. And they always came with the same conclusion, like, yeah, but, and would not fund anything. At least we're getting inroads with this administration. Now that's a real plus.
That's awesome. Great to
No,
hear.
there's never been Maha before. And when I gave my speech in October at the American Exceptionalism Awards, that was the first thing. One of the first things I wanted to say is I was Maha before Maha was cool. And, I used to get all kinds of grief from people that were backed by pharmacological and clinical and medical. They saw, and they still do, see this program as a major threat. And the advantage we have right now, and especially in the next few years, is that there's a new way of thinking where it's not always the pill first. There is other alternatives that can go forward. And so that's why I've been trying to do this, create this center idea, or have this concept of this holistic health and well-being project ever since we did that Discovery Channel research project with the brain health. That was the first thing as we were filming that and doing that project. I'm like, we need a place, because it was so hard to get all the veterans into clinics across the country. Because with hyperbarics, like Paul said, you need 40 dives. And if the clinic isn't convenient to you, it's hard to go and be consistent to get the results that you need.
Mhm.
And so you need a place where you can go and stay and do those things, plus a bunch of other things that can help and really, you know, help you out. And so, you know, we have what a little over 2 years of the current presidency with the current administration and the HHS and way of thinking. And so hopefully that's why we're on the gas so hard.
True story.
Awesome.
You know, if with the advances with AI and so forth, we're starting to. It used to be so slow. You'd see a different modality that can help traumatic brain injury or PTS. I mean, they're starting to come out on regular basis, and the only reason I'm saying that is because they're bringing the science with it, the science of proof. Because you guys remember your discharge when you get out, they ask you those questions, and you felt it like it's just let me get through it, you know, and out the door where you go. Those days are over, and now we have enough meat, we have enough video, and all the ones and there's thousands of documented on video and voice of the guys who went through, in our case, hyperbarics, and the results are they can't all be wrong. They can't all be BSing us. And that's why we touch the family too, to see, have you seen the changes? It works, gentlemen.
Just watch the Discovery Channel documentary and watch the wife, Kay Reyna, and watch what she says about the transformation of her husband and what that was like. I mean, it'll make you, it's so emotional. And basically she got her husband back. It's remarkable because they're the ones that really noticed that transformation, and she talks about it in the documentary.
Guys, what we're doing right now, if everyone wants to look at who we are, we have gone, I don't want to use the word dark. We stepped down because we're about to bring up another look, and it's called the Hyperbaric Medicine Foundation. And there's another part, Hyperbaric Medicine International. We are talking to the international side. There's other countries somewhat more advanced than us that are using hyperbarics. And that also is relating to post-surgery people and all the other dynamics that oxygen can touch. So I say to you, stand by. We're coming, and we're done talking, John, right? I mean, we're done talking when it comes to.
Well, I'm not trying to convince anybody the efficacy of it. If they can't watch the proof in the pudding, then there's not really much you can do about it. But if we get the center going, it's 100% going to work. And
yes, it will.
You know, it will be overwhelming, the output that comes with it. And that's on the active duty side, the veteran side, the first responder side, the professional athlete side. Anybody that goes through this center is going to benefit.
And by the way, Aviv, that Israeli entity that's outside of Florida, though they don't want us take business from them, so to speak, but they're willing and able, the learning curve from them alone, from setup to what work, what they should have done, what could they have done. So they're willing because they care that much about the veteran and first responders and active duty. It's a beautiful thing. We're finally getting the noise we need to make this happen.
No, and we are, and definitely I've reached out to the IDF a couple of times on this topic. I haven't really got to the right person yet, but I definitely will plan on it. So our bobsledder guy's trying to join us. I'm not sure why he's having technical issues.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure why he's having technical issues. The links work for all of us. maybe bobsledders aren't as smart as veterans. I'm not sure. But that's a good poke, Will. Don't take it personal. One of the things also, I want to get Antonio in here on workforce development. One of the other things that we want to incorporate into this project is workforce development. And a lot of veterans come out of service and they have a certain skill set that they've acquired, depending on what their MOS is. And then depending on what their capabilities, desires, family life, those sort of things, they may not necessarily be directly suited for a particular job. And particularly in the trade industry, whether it's construction jobs, electrical, plumbers, auto mechanics. Let's say you want to go into the Forest Service, or maybe you want to be a park ranger, or maybe you want to sell cars or work on cars.
Security.
There can be let's call it remedial training, or whatever you want to call it. But I think it's important that while guys are coming and doing their 40 dives, they can also be at the same time learning some skills that could really benefit them and their family. And so take it away, Antonio. Talk about what you guys are doing at BMW.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, JW. So I left the military in 2018. So I was a recruiter for the 7 of the 12 years before I left the military. So BMW gave me an offer. When I joined the brand in 2018, I joined as a technician recruiter to recruit technicians into our BMW dealerships because we have a shortage of technicians. But what we also learned is that I wanted to involve the military into this type of program. So BMW established a program where we can help active duty members leave the military with a skill trait. Like JW said, sometimes it's very important, because leaving the military, like myself, when I was transitioning out before BMW gave me an offer, I was thinking to myself, like, what is it that I'm going to do? Right. I was in that seat, like, what do I do now? And I was in a panic mode. So I can just see other veterans going through the same thing. Is we've done 4 years, we've done 8 years, but what now? What comes next? And sometimes we don't have that guidance to show us what's the next step. So BMW established this 4-month training program where we bring in active duty members from branches all across. So there is no specific branch we work with. We work with all branches, where we provide them that skill set to work on BMWs from bumper to bumper. And we certify them to become BMW certified technicians. What that does for them, it gives them the ability to not only use their skill set that they learned in the military, but they provide that in the program. And then now we help them get a job at a dealership across any dealership nationwide, which I think it's a huge benefit, because a lot of veterans want to leave the military. They want to go back home. So we look at dealerships near their hometown so we can provide them that service to go back home and be technicians for us. And it's a free program at no cost. We don't use their GI Bill. We don't use anything. If they have to be an active duty member, which they go on TAD, which temporary orders of their duty station, for the 4 months before they leave the military, which is a huge benefit for them because we don't touch any of their benefits whatsoever. So they basically are technicians for us for those 4 months. We provide them all the tools, uniforms. The classes are 7 hours, all hands-on training, where when they earn their certificate, they can go into a dealership having those skill sets and providing a service to those vehicles and those customers coming in. So it's a great
Antonio,
program. Yes, sir.
you're giving them self-worth.
Yeah.
And there's entities all over the country now stepping up very much like you guys did. And it gives them that chance. Remember, you even stated you started going downhill. You had to
Yep, I
find
did.
a way. You had to feel that self-worth somewhere. And
Yes.
thank God for what you've done and what you continue to do, because it truly makes a difference, man. Truly
Yeah,
makes a difference.
It's finding a
absolutely.
mission and a purpose.
Yeah, and that's
Mission and
definitely what it
purpose.
is, Juan. Because when you don't have that mission, and that's where I kind of saw myself when I left the military, even though I transitioned to BMW, I didn't have that bond, right? So I felt like I was going downhill. I felt like I just didn't have a purpose in life, and because all I knew was the military for 12 years, right? I had friends, I had just it was a commodity. Um, but then, what I did find is a purpose. So I did enroll in community college. I earned a few degrees, changed my mindset completely around, got more involved with different organizations, started doing different things, more working out. Um, that helped me strive. So now with the company, I actually was nominated to be the champion for BMW's Employee Resource Center, where
Oh,
now I can help all of the veterans across BMW North America, where I can provide them those resources, right? So I want to be able to help veterans across BMW because I was lost. I was lost coming into this company as well, and I know that there's a lot of veterans that are in the brand that are probably in the same shoes that I was, but they didn't have the right resources. So now I am the actual. I just got nominated this January, which I want to be involved with JW with my
Congratulations,
company.
dude.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
it's
But I want to be
huge.
able to help JW and the brand do company CI days, do more involvement, because I want veterans that are in BMW to know that there is resources that I can help them. JW can lead them in the right direction, because that's all we need is we need resources. And I felt like I didn't have those resources, so I'm here to speak for the veterans across BMW and other veterans outside of the brand as well.
Love it, man. Congratulations. Big deal. It really is a
Thank you,
big
thank you,
deal.
thank you.
It is a big deal, and that's why, we've seen it, because I mean, I started a program here in LA County with transition age youth and workforce development, to help build up the talent pool for construction jobs, because we had two major fires in Palisades and Altadena, and we need to
Right.
hire like 1,500 construction workers. Well, there aren't 1,500 qualified construction workers right now. And so there's all these trade schools scrambling to try to find, whether it's veterans or transition age youth or whoever it might be, we need to do it. So go ahead, Juan.
I'm just gonna say I gotta go, guys, because I gotta start work. But hey, thank you so much, Paul. Hey, Paul, you're doing amazing work. Please continue. Antonio, congratulations, brother. And John,
Thank you,
I
Juan.
love you. I'll see you next time.
Uh-oh. Did I come in too late?
No, you're fine.
Yeah, you guys leaving me now, because I'm not smart enough to be a veteran. I heard that joke.
Good. Hey, if there's one thing you're going to learn about hanging out with me, is you better be quick with the sense of humor. I'm rapid fire.
Absolutely.
I'm rapid fire. I don't take myself too seriously, and I make fun of people who do. So just know that about me. Life's too short, man. You gotta smile. You gotta have fun. Gotta laugh. So what I like to do is I like to introduce Will Person. He and I connected the new school, the new technology way through LinkedIn. We were both commenting on a suicide post, and I noticed that he was into hyperbarics, and so I reached out to him, and he probably thought I was some kook. And he's like, what do you want? So anyway, we had a really nice conversation yesterday. So when we were going to talk about hyperbarics on the podcast today, I thought that I should invite him in. Paul, I wanted you to meet him. I spoke about you to him yesterday. And then also, he knows Rob Beckman at Treat Now. So take it away, Will. The floor is yours.
Man, just so you guys know, man, I was fighting for you guys. I thought you guys were going to kill me for the post that I was making. Guys, I follow the symptoms. And I put it online so many times. I said this PTSD thing, don't get me wrong, it's real. However, if you follow the symptoms, underneath that is CTE. It's the same thing that's killing my teammates. It's killing NFL people. It's killing the housewives who had domestic violence, the hockey players. Somehow the internet has made me out to be the CTE guru, and it didn't start out that way. I was just really trying to save my teammates, man. And but now that I backed up and see the whole picture, this might sound insane to say, guys, but this is directly tied to our mass shooting rates in America. Like most of it is right here from people with head concussions. whether you got them from military blasts or you got them from colliding with other people or car accidents. Also, if you check my social media, about September last year, I made a really, really out there post. And I told people Kanye West was misdiagnosed. I said, what's really wrong with him is I followed the symptoms. He had a car accident and he had a concussion. They gave him the same treatment they gave the Olympic athletes, which is nothing. They tell you to go sit down in the corner and don't go to sleep for a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they do that, it's inflammation that's on the brain. And I'm gonna give you guys the real news. Hyperbaric works. I couldn't talk, guys. If you look at me in the media, I filed a class action to help my teammates. I never asked for any money. I asked for transparency to warn the new kids before they start the sport. Like they should know what's gonna happen to them. And so,
Right.
like it's and they still fight me on it. I didn't ask for any money for me, or I thought I was dying. I didn't have much time left. One of my teammates called me speaking this weird gibberish. And then he went and hung himself. And then I took that personal because I used to own treatment facilities and I used to run some big ones. And mental health is my thing. And I did nothing to help him. And I just felt guilty, to be very honest about it. And the truth was, until this autopsy report came out, he was in stage 4. And then I realized at that point, like, there was nothing I did that was going to help him at that point. But also, I realized that I was in dementia and I was struggling and I didn't even know it. I just thought I had diabetes coming because I have no energy to get up. It looked like low blood sugar. This whole thing is about misdiagnosis. And so if you follow the symptoms, guys, this is why the suicide rates are so high. This is why the mass shooting rates are so high. It's all the same stuff. But we're all focusing it from the different points of view. Like the military is worried about the military. I'm worried about the bobsledders. Football players are worried about football players. But when you take a step back, it's all the same stuff. And,
the one thing I would add is I think misdiagnosis, no question. I mean, we saw that in our brain health study that we did. When you do the brain mapping, you can get a more precise diagnosis because you can understand if someone's dealing with symptoms related to concussion, traumatic brain injury, PTSD or any of those things, you really got to understand. And the brain is probably the most important organ in the body, and it's the one that we know the least about. And then the second thing I would say is when you have a misdiagnosis, the most common treatment plan currently available especially in the veteran community, but I think it's universal, like you were saying, is that they give you an SSRI. And the number one side effect of SSRI is suicide ideation. So when you talk about school,
medication?
That's the medication. Yeah, it's an
anti. Now stick with me on this one. All right, I'm trying not to be arrogant about it. I want to make sure I'm really clear. I'm not arrogant about it. But if this is a physical injury that manifests as a mental health injury, so this is not mental health at all. It's a physical injury. And so how can you treat it with a chemical imbalance medication? It's not going to work. It's going to make you go crazy. And
that's my point.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point. When you talk about school shooters, if they ever gave you the actual statistics, like there's a couple things I really like to know when they give these government reports. So when they talk about school shooters, how many of them were taking SSRIs? I guarantee you it's very, very high. Second thing, when they talk about military veteran suicide, when they give the statistics, I would love it if they talked about how many prescription drugs that veteran was taking at the time of his death and which prescription drugs they were taking at the time of their death. And I guarantee you that had significant implication into why that particular person committed suicide.
Absolutely.
100%. Yep.
100%.
Hey, gentlemen, you would know, William, better than most too. If you know anything about the anatomy of the body, the first oxygenated blood that comes to the heart, guess where it goes first? To the brain. And if the brain is lacking the oxygen need to clear think, to have the blood vessels expand, the trauma, the inflammation, that's the biggest one. It fights off the inflammation piece. what better even initially than to go through that space, go through the hyperbaric chamber and get initial treatment that way. And I missed the part. Are you concussed? Have you had concussions over the years?
Well, I was a bobsledder for 9 years, and what I know now is like every time I went down, we got micro concussions from the vibrations like this. It's like shaking baby syndrome. Or we got the big concussions that, made you go sit down and for 2 weeks and not be able to look at light. But also, we got extreme G-forces. There's an article called Sledhead written by the New York Times. It's literally the article that diagnosed me. There were spikes of micro spikes of 84.5 G-forces on some of those tracks.
Wow.
And this is how I connected the dots. I really was trying to help our fighter pilots because I once took them on a bobsled ride. On that day, I did 7. They did 1, and they were rattled. And I was like, come on, you guys are the best of the best. How could you be rattled on 1 bobsled ride? And once the article came out, it came out from the New York Times in December of 2024. And when the article came out, what happened is I took it to court only to help the veterans. I wasn't blaming anybody. I saw the symptoms. I was like, guys, I know what this is. So I sent it to my law team. I took it to court, shared with the judge. And then within a week or so, that article was scrubbed from the internet. But the New York Times sent me an active link so I can share it. Also, my lawyers, they flipped on us. Instead of them helping us, they turned on us. And so I hired Robert Shapiro. He did an investigation. He saw what was happening. He came aboard to help us. I have the email, guys. He says, Will, I fired your lead attorney. I kept the co-counsel because I know them. And we're going to help you guys get the results you need. And within 24 hours, he quit. And so also there's a documentary about me at some of the big agencies, and they called and warned me. He said, Will, this is not safe material. There's some big forces trying to keep this stuff under wraps. And that was all before I started helping the veterans because I didn't know about you guys yet, But yeah, there's a lot of big forces that's fighting this, but you don't need, so you guys are kind of thinking the old school way. And it's going to get you in trouble, and it's going to get you guys stuck. And the old school way is you go to legislation and you beg for money and hope that they come. No, I treat it in my home. I got a chamber in my house. I open it up to anybody who needs it. And I couldn't talk, guys. If you look at my record, I couldn't talk for a while. I couldn't form sentences. And let me tell you how I know it worked. And you guys are big boys. I'm going to give you real news. When I came out that chamber for the first time, I thought the salesman was a scam artist. It's down in Orange County. Because when I came out, my glasses were slightly tinted because I'm sensitive to lights, sounds, and smells. So he sees me, I get out. I'm in there 1 hour, just 1 hour. He sees me taking my glasses on and off. He said, what's wrong? I said, I don't know, man. I don't think I need my glasses right now. And he said, oh, you're one of those. I was like, okay, he's trying to sell me this $23,000 machine. I just bought my lake house to go die in. I don't have money for that. But he was right. Some people get immediate relief, and some people need 2 sessions a day for 30 days to get the same treatment. And so I get home, guys, about 9 o'clock at night. I fall asleep on the couch watching TV. I wake up with a migraine, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this thing do harm but I always had migraines because of the concussion. So, but with that migraine, guys, I had an erection. And those two things that don't go together. So if something was rewiring and it was quick, immediate, and fast. And so I climbed into bed at midnight, migraine, erection, still there. I wake up in the morning, 9 o'clock, migraine gone, erection is still there. And over the next few hours, I had been cloudy for 10 years at that point. It was gone for 6 days. They let me come back in a second time, and it was gone for 9 days. And so what I'm thinking, I'm opening up, I have a 501c3 I just created. And John, you got it. You're right, brother. You're on the right path. And I have 4 rental properties. I'm switching those over to be housing for the veterans. And I'm a 501c3. I'm taking donations. And all I got to do now is raise a little money to do the build out on that facility and get the equipment. And I'm going to be treating you guys for free. And I'm going to be opening these things up everywhere I can open them.
It's a beautiful
awesome.
thing.
Yeah.
Antonio, William, and the beauty of what we're talking about, it's oxygen. It's not addictive.
No.
Right.
It's a natural
It'll
form
be
of
when
life.
you start feeling good, you'll be like, hey.
It's addictive in that if you don't have it, you don't stay alive for
That's
very
right.
long.
You don't wake up.
You know what? Sometimes,
But that's a
I'll be
beautiful
honest,
thing you're doing.
Sometimes I get to the point, though, let me tell you how addictive it is not. sometimes I don't feel it's a chore sometimes. I don't feel like getting in there. I have to make myself go and get in this doggone chamber. So it is not addictive. You know, and you guys are on the right path, but don't even second guess yourself, guys. This thing works, it's real. And a matter of fact, if you know about most of the diseases that make us sick, it's all it's all diseases that make us sick. It's about the inflammation in our bodies. The brain is no different. This is the only inflammation in our body that they don't try to remove. And so it festers. And so I have a formula, guys. From when you get that right hit in your head, that makes it. It only takes one, because I met people only took one. You got a 10-year ticking time bomb. If those symptoms start to manifest, you got about 4 to 6 years before, at the 10-year point, you can know something's wrong. At that next 4 to 6 years, you're going to become suicidal or homicidal. I've not seen anybody not on that. And it's everybody, guys. It's not military only. It's everybody who hit their head the proper way.
Well, no, I mean, the head injury is extremely common. Like you said, car accidents, you know, all different. There's so many different ways you can have a head injury, and sometimes you may not even realize how severe it is. And so you guys are absolutely spot on the inflammation thing. The inflammation thing is not just in terms of brain injury, but like even chronic illness. You know, It gets exacerbated by inflammation, and chronic pain also gets exacerbated by inflammation. And so it's really important that you get those treated in a certain way. And so, like with Juan, when he came into the program, he was so heavy that extra weight was preventing him from healing. And then as he lost the weight, he regained his mobility, and it totally changed his life. And like, you know, he was saying, he was 350, 360 pounds, and now he's 202. And, you know,
Insane.
He's totally reclaimed his life. And he's just one example of many, many, many stories of folks that have taken charge of their life, and it's possible. Anyone can do it. It just takes you to decide, I'm not gonna take this shit anymore, and I'm gonna change my life. And then you get connected to an organization like Life Aid or any organization that's out there. There's a bunch of them trying to do really good things, and you can get the help you need. I mean, our organization especially focuses on connecting people and creating that network. So, you know, let's say I can't help you, but I might know somebody who can help you. You know, like when Antonio approached me about this BMW opportunity, I immediately responded, yes, that's exactly what we want to be doing. And we can amplify that message in a national way that some organizations can't. And, you know, like I said, we're working on some stuff. We have, you know, 2 major projects that we're working on right now. And we're trying to make you know, we need to move the needle, because the needle ain't getting moved right now. I mean, it's great that we're able to help. It's great that all these other organizations are able to help, but suicide rates ain't going down. So we need to do a little more drastic intervention, if you will, or disruption. We need a little disruption, right, Paul?
We do. And hey, William, I said this to Antonio before you came on. I'm looking at you right now, and I'm there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can take you. What say you, William?
Yeah, I'm sure you did too, because you had the best training in the world. It's not fair. That's not a fair fight. I wouldn't even fight you. I'm sorry that I'll be looking for something in the room to hit you with. I just not gonna.
It's all good. Hey, just remember, guys, and when we talked about hyperbarics in a perfect world, 40 dives is a perfect world. That's not, you're done for life. It doesn't work like that. You go in, I call them a refresher every now and then, because the symptomology can come back. It can come back. But you're going to be able to identify it post-ups. That's, and you mentioned, both of you mentioned that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
So
no, you're 100%
right.
You're 100% right. it, you know, like for me, I've kind of turned that corner where I don't really need it anymore. I don't believe, I'm not sure. I try to take breaks every now and then. Usually I go 30 days and then I'll start feeling a little bit weird again. And then I hop back in there and then I reset again. But I have a system that I want to do. I have the structure in my city of St. Louis. I have the rental properties already. I have the building I want to open in. I'm gonna also donate my lake house in there. I have all those things, but the one thing that it's like we need these things to be accessible in the communities. And so I'm trying to find
Yep.
places where I can have these things placed. And there's like chamber companies that want to partner with me. And I haven't taken any private money because they want a return on money. This thing, what I'm doing is for humanity and it's for free. And it's
Beautiful.
oxygen. And once it's open, I'm gonna put solar on my building. And guess what? I don't have a bill. It's not costing me anything. There's no maintenance on these things. You just turn them on, you know?
Wow.
And that's what we have to have because really, it's bigger than the military, guys. It's really a humanity problem at this point. And look at every mass shooting from this day forward. You will not be able to unsee it. You're gonna look at their background. You'll see either military or concussion people, or my outliers, or my radical people and mental health people. But they had the same symptoms as the other people, so I think there's still a connection there too. So,
Well, I think the
Well
background,
said. Well
I
said.
think the background stuff is the important part. And I think it's two parts. One is, did the person have a history of brain injury or mental illness? And then the second part is, what was the treatment going on at the time? Like all of a sudden we're seeing all these trans mass shooters, and I'm just interested as a human, because I like to ask difficult questions. What role does the drugs that they're taking for transitioning, do those drugs play a role in what's going on in their brain?
well, that guy checked two boxes. I know what you're talking about. And you might be on something, but I don't think you're on this one. I originally thought it was military when they say he was in the military, but he wasn't in there that long to be exposed to the compression blast, right? However, his children play hockey, so more than likely he played hockey too. And hockey players are the biggest population for CTE right now. So my guess is he played hockey. But I went online to figure it out, but I couldn't find anything about his high school days or any of his sports stuff. But I'm assuming he played hockey, because those are the biggest people that find me to ask for help for hockey players.
Yeah, but also, what medication was he on at the time, or what medication has he been on the last, couple months of his life? I mean, I just want to know, because I want to see, like, where do you connect the dots, or can you connect the dots? And I don't see people asking those kind of questions.
Well, when I was at my worst, I made a deal with myself. See, I used to be a counselor, and I own treatment facilities. As a matter of fact, I opened my own treatment facility when I was 28. I had a 9-bedroom inpatient facility. When I joined Team USA, I was able to open for 3 years. And so mental health is my background. And so I made a deal with myself. I will not take my own life because I didn't want to leave that trauma for my family. But I was asking God every day to come and get me. Like, please, can today be the day? And but I tell you what, I finally broke down and listened to my lawyers, and I went and saw this doctor who helped the NFL guys, and he gave me Zoloft. And at that point, every window I looked like a swimming pool to me. I wanted to just jump through that window. And the sad thing is, I did what I told all our clients to do, what I would always talk. Oh, it takes a while to build up in your system. Just keep taking it, But no, these meds they're made for healthy brains. They're not made for what they're applying it to, because this is not really mental health stuff. And that's what what my gut's telling me. They probably was on Zoloft. They probably on antidepressant or something like that, because they take a lot of that stuff. They don't just take the hormones; it's those antidepressants. I bet they're on Zoloft. I almost guarantee it.
Well, antidepressants are SSRIs, so that's
absolutely, absolutely.
That's the stuff that's really, I think, we're over prescribing those. We were over prescribing opioids, and then we did a little course correction, at least in the veteran space. But we haven't done a course correction on SSRIs, but we sure do need to.
Yeah, and that's what it's. Man, they're awful. Man. It made me go, like I said, it made me want to take that thing off the table. God, I won't kill myself. I was like, God, I might have to kill myself. That's how.
Yeah,
Soon as I
I will
detach
tell you,
from it,
I will tell you what I say almost on every podcast. I had a high-ranking, very high-ranking general tell me, JW, the best prescription drug on earth is a bicycle. And so I always say
Man,
that
I
to
don't know.
everybody. The best prescription drug
Well,
on
let me
earth
tell
is a
you why,
bicycle.
though. Let me tell you why. I live in Woodland Hills. I pulled my bike out last month, right? We didn't get a winter time. And so I'm riding my bike. I didn't realize we're really in the hills. I made it half a block and my legs were burning. And I was like, I walked the bike more than I rode it. So riding that bike,
Well,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, you know a guy, and you and I are going to go riding, and maybe that's what we should do next week instead of going to lunch. Let's go for a ride. How tall are you?
6'1".
Okay, I got bikes for you. All right, we're going to be in business. And we got a big veterans event coming up, a veterans and transition age youth event coming up on March 21st and 22nd. So you can come hang out with some cool people.
You know what's funny? I'm here. Actually, I was on my way to get my windshield replaced right now. I hit an owl going through Malibu Canyon. Well, an owl hit me. And when I left here, I was going to the VA because, like, for some reason, the information about the hyperbaric is not getting to the people that need it. So I was headed there today, and so I'm glad I spoke to you guys. Maybe you guys
if you ever want to talk to the West LA or Sepulveda VA, Antonio and I can help set you up with the right people to talk to.
Well, you know what? This thing is really about knowledge. Like, Joe Namath is the one who saved my life, of all people. When my teammate killed himself, my algorithm changed. Like I said, I thought it was diabetes or something. But once when his autopsy, he was in stage 4. So when I started researching CTE stage 4, Joe Namath popped up. And so I wound up trying it only because his video popped up. But that knowledge saved my life. And I've saved so many people's lives now over the years. And everybody called me, they thanking me. I'm like, no, thank Joe Namath, because he's the father of this movement in my eyes.
A true advocate, Joe Namath, big time advocate. Before it was even cool to say hyperbarics.
It's still not cool to say hyperbarics, man. It was still Michael Jackson. Everybody, I didn't want to be the weird guy with the hyperbaric chamber, but man, this thing it's a lifesaver. And the problem that you're going to run into, even treatnow.org had it wrong. They believe it's because insurance don't want to pay for this thing on the front end. That is not the problem. If you look at my case alone, Robert Shapiro, of all lawyers, came to help us after my other lawyers turned their back. Like, they were fighting for us until they weren't. Once the insurance company showed up, they became the problem. And the problem is not they don't want to pay for the front end. They don't want to pay for the damages on the back end. That's the problem. And so, hold on one second for me. Yes.
That's okay. We're gonna wrap it up here. We've hit our time allotment. We kept Paul longer than I promised him we would keep him, but hopefully
I'll be billing you for the time, John.
Yeah, no problem. Send it to the accounts payable team, and we'll get right on it. But I want to thank all of our guests today. Thank Juan for co-hosting, and Antonio, always good to see you.
Thank you, John.
We'll definitely be in touch. Same with Paul and Will. I mean it, Will. We're going riding next week. Like you said, we didn't get winter. We had winter for like a week last week, and then now it's back to spring again. So, I really appreciate everyone's time. Hopefully, our listening audience that listened both live today and will be listening to this on our YouTube channel will benefit from this discussion. And we'll see you next Thursday.
And before you guys pop off, one thing that'll help you guys, if you want to identify the people early, look at their eyes, guys. They'll look at their eyes. I'll show you some pictures later next time we get on. But look at the eyes. They look really dark, And it's a once you recognize it. Look at Antonio Brown, the football player. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And also the speech patterns. Like, I got to the point where I couldn't talk anymore. I was struggling with sentences because I had to really work to find words. So people don't talk smoothly. When they stop talking regular like this, that's also one of the signs. And the only other sign, only the loved ones are going to find it, because if you watch every suicide, mass shooting, or whatever, the family always say the same thing. They just weren't acting like themselves. And the only people who can identify that are the people around them. That's why you notice that most of the veterans who commit suicide or who do the awful things, they're no longer living with their spouses, nor are the NFL players. They're all living separate.
No,
There's
it's
only
all
one-
isolation.
Yeah.
Antonio,
isolation.
William, you're making a difference. I didn't know about you till this podcast. I care about you. I'm encouraged by what you're all doing. And know this, you are making a difference. And that's part of the whole equation, man. Both of you.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
I hope to
Thank you,
God
Paul.
we get a chance to talk again. Thank you.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'm not
we
going
definitely
anywhere. I'll be
will.
open soon. I'll hopefully be
the
open
one-
soon,
the-
guys.
The one thing I can tell you is once you get in the JW universe, it's hard to get out. So it's all good.
All right.
All right. Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thank you, guys.
We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Bye-bye.